Researchers are developing brain-computer interfaces as a way to restore physical autonomy. The logic is straightforward. If a severe spinal cord injury severs the connection between the brain and the body, an electronic device could bridge that gap, reading a patient's intent and translating it directly into movement. But translating a human thought into a clean digital action is difficult. It requires the extraction of neural signals directly from the source. That requirement creates a physical bottleneck. To get a signal clear enough to control a computer, surgeons typically embed hardware deep inside delicate brain tissue. This depth carries medical risks, from internal hemorrhaging to long-term tissue scarring. Elon Musk's Neuralink is a prominent example of this methodology. Their device relies on threading tiny, flexible electrodes directly into the cortex itself. Because piercing the brain causes inherent physical trauma, these kinds of deep tissue devices remain largely experimental. The safety profile of the surgery limits who can receive the hardware, which prevents the technology from reaching a mass scale. In June 2026, the medical technology landscape shifted toward China. Following successful trials, China officially cleared the Neo brain implant for use within its healthcare system. Neo is the country's first brain-computer interface to receive formal commercial clearance. This approval marks the point where neural interface technology becomes a regulated medical product available to the public. The device is the result of a joint effort between researchers at Tsinghua University and Neuracle Technology. This diagram shows the specific engineering approach used here. Instead of diving into the gray matter, they built the Neo around a concept called surface-level extraction. Notice the clear boundary separating the hard bone of the skull from the soft brain tissue below. The Neo implant is surgically positioned to rest entirely in that shallow space, wedged between the skull and the brain. It never breaks the surface of the cortex. The creators accepted a slightly weaker signal from the brain's surface in exchange for a reduction in surgical trauma. By avoiding the cortex, Neo avoided the safety hurdles that often delay competing devices, leading to its commercial clearance. This grid represents the clinical trial data that convinced regulators. To prove the surface-level design worked, researchers implanted the Neo into a cohort of 36 human participants. The trial focused on two specific groups of patients: individuals suffering from Parkinson's disease and those with severe speech impairments. The results showed that the Neo captured enough surface-level data to enable these patients to control external digital devices without using their hands. These trials demonstrated that a shallow, less invasive implant is capable of restoring human agency, making deep brain trauma unnecessary for these types of conditions. With the trials concluded and the clearance secured, the Neo is now being mass-produced for the Chinese healthcare system. Scaling a neural implant across a population changes the nature of the risks involved. The primary concerns shift from individual surgical dangers to systemic vulnerabilities. Even without the threat of deep brain damage, embedding hardware into thousands of people creates a constant logistical risk of surgical infection across the healthcare system. Then there is the digital threat. This graph shows a continuous human brainwave pattern. By connecting human minds to commercial networks, raw neural data and private cognitive activity become susceptible to being hacked. The Neo device proves that reading a brain doesn't require drilling deep into it. However, the success of this technology shifts the industry's focus toward the balance between medical recovery and the security of a user's neural data.